Hey high levelers, Rayo Daniel here, and in this video I'm super excited to bring to you AI chatbot appointment setting configuration inside of Highlevel. That's what we're going to be talking about and a couple of different ways that we can do that. Before we get started, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please hook me up, click on the subscribe button, hit that little bell notification. I appreciate your support. Now, some other notices before we kind of get started here that I'm going to be able to give you is the appointment bots that I'm going to be talking about are going to be specifically within the Highlevel platform. I will not be covering any third-party tools or any other third-party chatbots. I know there's a lot of other videos about AI appointment setting with Highlevel, but I'm really just going to focus on what you can do inside of Highlevel with the current settings and configurations and how you can actually sell that to make money. So I won't be covering anything with Zapier, nothing with externally with ChatGPT or anything like that. It's just going to be strictly with Highlevel. Now, speaking of ChatGPT, I do want to at least let you know that the high-level conversation AI features that we're going to be talking about here in this video do use the ChatGPT as the back-end AI automation. Now, in the past, Highlevel used version 3.5 of the ChatGPT bot. Now, over the last month or two, they have updated it to the version 4, so just keep in mind that version 4 is being used with all AI communication moving forward. Now, there's a couple of different things that I want to be able to show you in this training. What I want to do is I'm going to give you some technical information regarding how to build AI bots. We're going to look about how it works. We're going to see it working live on the website and go back and forth. But one of the biggest things I want to be able to sit back and do is kind of explain the mental process that you should have whenever you start building an AI appointment setting bot. Before you do that, you really have to understand your client. Hopefully you're dealing with a specific niche because that way everybody in that niche kind of has the same type of business process, but you need to understand their business process. Now, what does this mean? Let's go ahead over here and show you what this looks like. So this right here is just a diagram that I pulled off the internet. It's nothing of mine or a client of mine or anything like that. But what it is, it just simply shows you a process diagram of like an incoming call, for instance, or it could be, what happens when a web form is submitted on your website, what happens when the chat widget comes in and somebody communicates. What is that process here? When somebody calls up to a business, what do? What kind of standard questions do they get? Sort of what direction and path can you take through this process diagram that most customers go through whenever they sit back and call. Now, when you call a specific niche or an industry, in this kind of case, we're going to be dealing specifically with an HVAC company. So for this, home services, you can also include electricians, plumbers. Those type of same staff will be able to be included in the mix that we're talking about here. That type of process diagram is really not that complicated. And it's not a lot for most businesses that have services. So for instance, in the HVAC industry, there are primarily two main options that you need to look for when people call. They either need, number one, they need a service request, so something's broken and they need to fix it, or they know something is broken and they're trying to get an estimate for a new replacement of their entire system. It could be the AC unit, it could be the furnace, it could be whatever, but they're looking for a replacement. Now, this is no different than an electrician. Electricians, for instance, you would have a repair for electrical in the home somewhere, but you might also get an estimate to upgrade that box from one service level to another service level. So that requires an estimate. And typically, those are going to be two types of conversations that people have. Likewise, with a plumber, you can go out and fix it, or what if you need to have a plumbing stack fixed, or a water heater changed out? Those are going to require estimates, which are going to require somebody to go out and give an estimate. And typically, in some businesses, the person that goes out and gives the estimate is not always the person who does the service calls and the service work. So typically, you have two separate calendars for those, for booking appointments for service related and then booking appointments for estimate related. So that's kind of a simple sample business process that happens with HVAC. That's one of the main reasons why people call. But let's hop in here and take a look at our sample sub-account. Hey, real quick, guys, if you're looking to start your own software company, then click on my free course in the link below. I'm going to teach you 8 ways that you can start your own software company very easily with no money out of pocket, no experience, and absolutely no tech skills. Check it out, click the link below, and let's get back to the video. Here, the company is called FreshFlow HVAC. Here's sort of their website. It is built off of Highlevel, just a very basic sample template. This is a sample company that I've created to kind of show functionality and features and so forth of what's possible with the Highlevel platform. So if we take a look here, I'm going to be covering 2 main types of conversation AI bots in here. Number one is going to be inside of Highlevel itself, the actual conversation AI bots, and the second is going to be the new conversation AI workflow action that's included in the automations and the workflows. Now, what I'm going to explain is you're going to be using these two completely and really separately different from each other here. And I'm going to kind of hopefully by the end of this video explain the difference between why you would use one and why you would use the other. So let's hop into the first one here. First, we're going to go to settings of the sub account and go to conversation AI. Now, here we've got this set up in full autopilot mode. So one of the things I want to sit back and explain to you here is these supported channels. Now, this might be a little bit technical, but you want to use the conversation AI here, located here, not in the workflows, for these types of channels. Now, the answer to the question is why. Why would you want to use this conversation AI training and so forth for these particular channels, but use the workflows for different channels, which we'll get into here a little bit later on in the video. The reason is conversation AI across these channels that we see right here are able to understand and interpret the initial message that the person is sending you. For instance, if somebody's contacting you via Instagram or Facebook, they're going to send you a DM. That DM is going to have a message. Okay? That message needs to be understood by the AI before it can respond. So the problem with the workflow is the workflow itself does not understand or cannot understand that initial message. Okay? So even though these channels right here are really optimum for the conversation AI feature that we're going to be looking at right now, something that works better for the workflow feature are things that do not have an initial message. Meaning, a couple of things we're going to take a look at is, what if you submit a form on a website? What if you want to use the Facebook ads and you're doing Facebook ad lead forms? That type of information, you already have advertising and you're gathering data, but it doesn't necessarily have an initial message. All you're doing is gathering people that raise their hand and says, yes, I'm interested in your service. And then you can have like the workflow AI go through and do some other cool stuff that, again, we'll take a look at here in a little bit. But all of these channels here have initial messages. So SMS, somebody's going to text you something. Chat widget, somebody's going to put in their name, phone number, and a message. And the thing about it is that that message has to be understood before a response can be given, which is why those channels are located here inside of the conversation AI. And these channels should not be monitored typically by the workflow actions because it's a step behind. It won't have access to that initial message. And when the AI starts, it may duplicate the information that you just asked, and it may make you look bad. We'll kind of help you understand what that looks like a little bit later on here. But we're going to be dealing with the chat widget specifically. I'm going to show you how this thing works, how it kind of goes back and forth. But right now, the channels I have it configured on is just SMS and the chat widget. But please use this conversation AI, the autopilot feature, the appointment booking, all of the stuff here for these channels right here. It will really work best for you. Now, coming down here are some of the other advanced configurations. Now, I'm not going to go over all the settings of Conversation AI. I have another video that's going to be linked to this video here that has the whole other video that I went over Conversation AI and all the steps and how you configure every little part of this, but that's not what this is about. This video is about how to create a basic AI chatbot so that you can sell this to your client, the consumer, or your client, and have them make money on autopilot using this system. So that's what we're looking to do. Now, what we're going to do is come over here to configure intents. And what I want to explain to you here is one of the limitations. There's some other limitations of the AI system inside of Highlevel that I will talk about. I love the AI system in Highlevel. You can make money off of it, but it is somewhat limited. And if you need to get beyond these limitations, then you will have to go and use a third party potentially. And I don't have any recommendations for you over that because I haven't researched any of them. But one of the limitations that we have here is we're only allowed to pick one calendar to book appointments on here. So that's one of the problems. Remember I said earlier, people call because they want a service request or they call because they want to get an estimate. Sometimes those calendars are the same. They are. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes one person, you might have technicians out doing repairs, but then the owner or a salesperson goes out and does the estimates and gets all the work and stuff like that, because those estimates are really where it's a lot of value to the business, because at HVAC, when you're selling a system, that could be thousands of dollars that you're making off of that install and repair versus maybe a few hundred off of a simple repair versus a replacement. But one of the disadvantages here is that you're only allowed to configure the bot with one calendar. So just keep that in mind. So that's one of the things that I notice here. So if you're going to have a service request, great, it'll book the service request. If it's not a service request, then you're going to have to handle that a different way. So right now, that's kind of how this works. So I want to show you how it looks. Before I do that, I'm sorry, let me hop into the bot training real quick. This right here, I've only got this configured from this site here. What I've done is when I built the site, this is freshflowhvac.com. So by all means, take anything that I have on here. Frequently asked questions. I've gathered a whole bunch of frequently asked questions from other HVAC companies and sites and things like that, and put them all together here as sort of one massive big FAQ. And I went through the process of removing like specific company names or things like that so that it's just more general. Like, what are the pros and cons of portable air conditioners? So why do we put all this stuff on here? Because what we want to do is we want to be able to train the bot in the terminology, the questions, and the answers and responses that most HVAC companies have in case they get those through the AI system. So here, if we take a look, notice that I did have it go through and upload it. So right now the link is it's already looked at the website and it's already been trained. If we wanted to, if you ever go back and update the website later, you can just simply click on the refresh here, and then it will go back out and pull in all the new information. Or if you've removed information, it will actually remove it from the the training itself. And that right there is one of the first steps that you need to do to really configure the AI system. You want to give the AI bot as much information as possible. Now, you can point it to a website, you can point it to multiple websites. Believe it or not, you can point it to other, even competitors' websites, but I would be careful about that because some of the data may have their name in it and their information, and the AI bot may be confused. They may give that information out unwillingly, and it could cause some issues. So what I would suggest doing is gathering all the data that you can from all the questions and all the responses that when you go through the initial survey process with your client and you're building this type of process documents, some of the other questions that you should ask are, can you please tell me, especially the person answering the phones, all the types of questions that you ever get, no matter how silly, stupid you want to call it. I need to have all of them because I want to make sure that I train the AI bot over all of them so that you, Mr. Business Owner, or the receptionist, or whatever the person is that may be there, doesn't have to go over those questions with the person. All of those questions can be answered by the AI system. I just have to be able to tell it and program it. Now, one of the other things, if you don't want to put it on the website like I did, you could have a Google document. And I don't have an example of that here, but you can have a Google document with all of those questions and answers in it, and then just simply copy and paste that URL here to the Google document and then have it go out and get that data. As long as it's public, as long as the link works and you're sharing it and things like that, it can pull all of that data in from the Google document and learn from it as well without posting it to the website like I did. So that's just a few other things here. Now, let's go back and take a look and see how this thing works. Now, what I'm going to do is I have two tabs open for my high level. One of them is going to be sort of the receiving end. I'm actually using one of my other sub-account phone numbers as the number that I'm going to be using here, so we can kind of see the communication back and forth on the AI bot. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, and I've already got my name information in here. I'm just going to simply say, my furnace is making noise, and my AC unit is not working. Can you help me? Maybe that's the message, and if I could spell, my typing skills are a lot to be desired. But let's just say you want to click on that and send it, okay? Now, keep in mind, one of the things about this, and I want to sit back and say, this message right here, that's the initial message that I'm talking about, that the conversation AI that we're talking about can read this message that you send it initially and respond to it. Now, if you had the workflow, when we get into the workflow widget, I don't have the workflow trigger off the website chat widget, and I don't suggest you doing that either if you want to do the AI bot, because this initial message about furnace making noise will not work. That the AI bot will not be able to interpret the beginning understanding of the communication. It'll just be able to start from scratch like, oh, hi, thank you for contacting us. How can I help you? And after the person's already input this, they might be a little bit irritated because they're like, well, I just put that message in your website. Why are you asking me again? So please don't do that. That's one of the reasons why I said use this AI to handle the channels that are listed, because it can understand that initial message. So now if we come back over here, we see there is an initial message that we've got right here. The bot just replied, maybe I can blow this up a little bit here. Yeah, we can definitely help out with that. Do you want to schedule a service for your HVAC system? So it took the initial message, understood it, and then generated a response based upon the whole goal of getting them to schedule a service call. Let's just say maybe, how much do you charge? And again, I'm not sure what it is, but this is where your frequently asked questions will come back in, and let's just see how the AI bot handles that. This is where you would have to go back on your AI bot, train it. You'd want to do these kinds of things back and forth to make sure it would give the proper response. So here, pricing can vary depending upon the services needed. To get an accurate estimate, it's best to schedule an inspection. When do you want to book for? All of that. So see what just happened with the AI. They asked a question and it gave a general response. It depends. I can't give you a price because I don't know what's wrong. Do you want to schedule and book for that? Let's just say we just type yes. Now, when we type yes, now the AI bot is going to go back and say, great, it received a positive response. Now it's going to want to go back out and say, well, something like, when do you want to schedule that for? Great. When do you want to book an appointment? Not a problem at all. Let's just say ASAP. Let's just see if the bot understands. ASAP stands for as soon as possible. So let's just see what it comes back. It should come back with dates immediately, with some date and times, and allow that person to choose which one works best. So great, got it. We have the following slots available today, July 31st, 2024, from these time slots. Can you please pick a slot that works best for you? I'm going to choose the 3:30 p.m. slot. So notice, now keep this in mind. All this stuff is happening. This is a very basic but yet powerful way that people can go to your website, type this in, and this is happening in real time. Notice that the customer me that I'm talking to doesn't even have a chance to go back and look at Google again before I get a response back from the AI system. And now we've got them constantly engaged in conversation. We want to get their business. We don't want them to call. And as long as we're able to provide services for them in the time frame involved, like, great, you got some slots today, I'll take 3:30. What is somebody whose AC system is not working when it's hot want? They want somebody to come fix it as soon as possible. They want the comfort knowing that an appointment has been scheduled, somebody's going to come out, take a look at it, and get it fixed. That's what they're looking for. And that's what the AI bot is providing. Great, let's book you for 3:30 p.m. today, 31st of July. Consider it done, see you then. Perfect. So right now the AI bot, number one, has taken the information from the website, communicated with the person, answered invalid questions, redirected them back to creating an appointment, give them time for the appointment, and booked an appointment for them already. And now it's on the books, and your client, the owner, who could be an owner-operator, they could be a one-man show or one-woman show, they no longer have to worry about answering the phone. This does not become a phone call they have to respond to later after work. This becomes a booking that now is more value to them in their business. So let me kind of explain this to you here. What we just did is we just booked an appointment. Hopefully, if everything goes well with this person becomes a customer of this particular business. Now, let's look at this. How much can you charge for something like this? Let's kind of think about this. I want you to understand, how much is a customer worth to, let's just say, somebody in home services, HVAC, electrician, plumber. I'm going to give you one statistic that I am familiar with. With HVAC people, the average customer lifetime value is $2,000 across the country for this. Now, this is a person that could be buying a new unit. They could be having a $300 repair. They could be having whatever, but the customer lifetime value, meaning if I come out and fix your AC this year, you're going to call me next year to fix it because I'm going to follow up with you and you're going to be a good client of mine. So I might get a repair next year as well, and then the year after that, the year after that. But the point of this is you've gotten this customer, and now you're going to maintain them. You don't have to go look for new customers. This customer is going to continue to give you business every single year. So the value of that customer is going up, up, and up. What did it take for you to get this customer from the client's perspective? It just took you implementing this system, building them a website, putting them a website chat widget up there, which you're going to charge them for. Maybe charge them for building the website, charge them for putting the website chat widget on it, charge them for the automated AI system. All three of that just show them that they can just get a customer right there. And if you could build something as simple as this and even show them, like have the owner of, let's just say, an HVAC company log in here and actually do this like they're a customer, get the response back from your AI bot on their phone, book an appointment, and then guess what? Whenever an appointment gets booked, let's just take a look at that and confirm that. Let's go back over to calendars. Let's look at the appointments and just make sure that appointment calendar was booked. So in here, if you could show this to the person, here it is, July 31st, 3:30, right, boom. So the AI bot did confirm the appointment. Now, what you can have done is whenever the owner goes through and logs in and they do this, and they walk through the same wizard, or the same process that we just had right here, imagine now when they book an appointment, now another workflow, of course, fires that for appointment booking bot. Like, hey, we have an appointment in 1 day. We have an appointment in 4 hours. We have an appointment here. They're going to get a notification on their phone with a calendar invite. They're going to get all that stuff from the automations because that's what you're going to set up when somebody books an appointment. Now, that workflow and that automation has nothing to do with AI directly, but it's another thing that if the owner is sitting here with their phone and they go through and they book the appointment that easily, and they get another follow-up email saying, oh, here's the calendar appointment reminder. Hey, we have an appointment in 3 hours. We have this. They're going to see the power of this, saying, wow, this is going to be work. This is going to be my system, and I'm not going to have to work for this or make all these phone calls or anything else at the end of the day. And I can just go home knowing that I've booked 3 more slots today without ever having to do anything. That solves a business problem for them, and then that has value. That's where you can charge $297, $497, $897. Take your pick. What is it worth to them to have this system put in place? Now, if we just got them one customer, that's on average $2,000. So you've made them $2,000, just today by helping them get this appointment. Now, that's a value already by itself. So again, think about this when you're charging them. If you're using AI, do you think they mind paying $497 a month or $697 if they can have this level of automation working in their business and they're making this much money and they're not having to lose the customers and they're getting all these free customers from people calling? because they never have to answer the phone anymore. They never have to do any of that because the AI system does it for them. Now, I'm doing this because I want you to sell this stuff. I want you to sell the high-level AI system to your clients, make more money, but I'm trying to give you the idea in your head of just what is going through the client's mind, what are they thinking of, and how you can charge them more money for this from this simple process. Now, what we just did was not complicated. Configuring the AI system right here, if you want to go back and look at the conversational AI, this part right here might take you, let's just call it an hour to set up. So 1 hour on your client to set this thing up, to get it configured, to train the bot, to have all this stuff done, and then you can kind of run through and do some initial testings. You can set up the calendar, and all this stuff may actually be inside of the snapshot that you provide for them if you have that. But what we're talking about here is a few hours of setup, and they have a system that continues to work, and you don't have to do a lot more work once this is set up. Okay? So that is a very simple way to use the conversation AI settings using the channels that we see here. So use this for all of these channels because it will be able to understand that. So hopefully that can kind of make sense just over the beginning power of using the AI chatbot for these particular channels. Now what I want to do is kind of switch gears a little bit. So I want to go back and show you some of the workflow components of this and why you would want to use the workflow components versus using this conversation AI. Number one, if you ever wanted to use this for instance, submitting a form on a website, number one, you just can't. Why? Because it's not an available channel. There is no submit form channel on here. These are the only channels that you get. So if you want to include your AI on something like a form submitting on your website, or it could be a Facebook ad lead form, or sort of a missed call text back, if you want to do stuff like that, now we actually have to use a workflow for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. But before we get started here, I want to make sure that I go back. I don't want to cross-contaminate some of these, so I'm going to reuse the same information. I'm going to delete my contact, delete the conversation, and just kind of get rid of it so Highlevel doesn't know who I am. So when I submit my information again, it'll be like a brand new person again. So here I'm going to go back to, let me show you the workflow first. I've got several workflows in here, by the way, that I want to show you. I'm excited about it. Some of these are not going to be mind-blowing. They're just going to open up your imagination and allow you to be able to effectively construct the AI appointment setting bot. Because one of the things that I personally disagree with some of the other people who have made AI appointment setting bots is they seem to think that their way of doing it is the best way or the only way. I mean, don't get me wrong. It works for their environment, but I want to sit back and show you a process that I feel is going to be better, and that's starting with your customer, starting with what their business process is, what this thing right here is, and then from there, building a strategy around which way is best to handle the AI bot, so what are the limitations of Highlevel, and how I can work around them to service my client and make the client money, which in turn makes me money. So here are a few workflows. This one's actually published. This is the one we're going to deal with first. So here, what we've got here is, I'm going to blow this up just a little bit here. We've got two triggers. Number one is going to be a form submitted on a website. The other one's going to be a call status, meaning a missed call text back. Now, keep in mind the workflows are going to work best for this because when submitting a form on a website, they're just raising their hand saying, I want you to contact me. You may not have an initial message on that form, and I would suggest you don't actually if you're going to be using AI, because that can be very frustrating from what I said before. They give you a message, and now the bot comes back and asks him, why are you contacting them? When they're like, well, I just sent that to you in the contact form. Didn't you get it? It really kind of bugs me. It's almost like going through an automated system where they have you put in all this information, only talking to the customer service rep who says, oh, none of that information transferred. Can you give it all to me again? And what do? Frustration, right? So let's not do that. So the form on the website is just going to be the basic information, first name, last name. We'll take a look at the form, email address, and just information like that, and then the call status. So here's a couple things. This is nothing simple. We just got this form being submitted, and the form is going to be the contact form on the FreshFlow HVAC website, which I'll show you here just shortly. But one of the other things that I wanted to sit back and make sure that you're aware of is dealing with the missed call text back. This is a great way to sit back and automate that missed call text back feature using the AI system. Now, I'm going to take a break real quick and segue just for a few minutes on the missed call text back, because I think it's very important that I tell you about this and how this may work out for you in the future if you want to implement this. If you want to use the AI system with this, one of the things I would suggest is to go into your settings and turn this off inside of these particular settings here. So notice here, I do not have the missed call text back enabled because I want the workflow to kick off, and I want the workflow to be the one that responds to the customer. I don't want this one. If I enable it here, if I turn it on, then this message right here will get sent out by Highlevel to the person, as well as my workflow responding to them at once. So basically the person will get two messages, and it will be confusing. They'll get, hi, this is FreshFlow. I put this in here. We're not a real company, so please don't call us. Believe it or not, I keep getting a ton of calls on this website through Highlevel. But anyway, So they would get this message, and they would also get the message from the workflow that you have. You get two messages, and I just don't want you to do that. So turning this off at the settings level would in turn allow you to come back and then allow you to control all of that through the automation level. So here, when we do this, I'll just show you, how you can simply input this. The action for the trigger for this is going to be just a call status. And what you can do is you can specify direction. You're just saying, hey, all the incoming calls, I don't want this to fire on outgoing calls. But the phone number, you can actually pick a phone number. So if you have a certain service call number or a certain phone number that is not the default phone number, you can actually click here and specify it. But this is pretty cool because this missed call text back will only fire on one particular phone number that you have. And so that way you could use it on different workflows for different phone numbers, for instance. So, and then the call status, there are several different options. Here I just picked no answer and voicemail. So these are a couple that you can have. And when somebody calls, they either leave a voicemail, and I know when they leave a voicemail, it can be frustrating because they're probably leaving something about their information and what do you want to contact them. But regardless, it's a way of reaching out and touching base with them, to get this AI bot started. So either one of those could be the trigger for this. And again, you can add a Facebook lead form here if you wanted to. Could be, you can add multiple if you wanted to. But this right here is where the conversation AI looks like in the action. Has this kind of cool looking robot looking picture here. So if we come over here and we click on the plus, if we just simply type in conversation, we see there's a conversation AI. Here's some of the settings in here. If you really want to go through all the settings, I created another video on my channel for conversation AI that has a lot more breakdown. I'm just trying to focus on the AI automation piece for right now. So right now, as you see, you get this question. Now, one of the things I want to stop here is that this workflow action really does well with asking questions and then leading people down a certain path depending upon the answers they give you. So if you are dealing with a client, and let's just say the clients are, I know this happens in solar. I'm not in solar, so I don't deal with that industry, but just dealing with other friends that have, there are certain pre-qualification questions that you might want to ask them before you even talk to them, or to see if it's even worth dealing with. So if you're dealing with a house that is completely covered by trees and the house gets no or very little sunlight at all, then it's not really going to be worth the solar team's time to go out there and give an estimate because they're just not going to get any sunlight. So that could be a pre-qualification question. How many hours of daylight does your son get per day, or something like that. And then based upon that, you could have one path that goes no, I get no sunlight here, or I get 3 hours a day, in which case you might want to, the path that direction might say something like, send them an SMS saying, sorry, you don't get enough sunlight for us to warrant coming out and giving you an estimate because it wouldn't be worth your time from a cost perspective. Sorry, good luck to you. Something like that. Probably a little bit nicer than that. Or the other one could be, hey, I get sun, I have nothing. My house is in the middle of nowhere. I get sun all day long on all sides of my house. Great. So each one of those answers could take you down a different path. Now I want to show you here, when we come around to the HVAC, I kind of already talked about here, we've got, somebody's calling because they have a service related problem, they want to get it fixed, or they might want to have a new system or replacement system estimate scheduled. So here, we're only dealing with two possible outcomes here. Now, plumber and electrician, those could be different, but here we're dealing with number one, we're dealing with a service call, or we're dealing with an estimate request. These are the two paths that I have. Let me go ahead and open this up and just take a look at it here. So here I've got the timeout set to 1 hour. The channel is going to be SMS, and you have to set the channel. That's not set for you by default. A couple things I do want to go over here is this branch, no condition met, and the branch timeout. These are two branches that you cannot delete out of the conversation AI. They come with every conversation AI. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to deal with them, and I'll explain to you real quickly here what they're for. So down here at the bottom, these are where you can add your branches. So in the example of the roofing thing, you could have one branch that says, the house gets less than 3 hours sunlight a day. That could be branch number one. The house gets more than 3 hours light per day. So you tell the bot that, and now the bot, based upon when somebody responds, my house gets 8 hours of sunlight per day, the bot then knows that 8 is greater than 3, therefore it's going to choose the path where the sunlight is greater than 3 hours per day. So it's going to go down that branch. Here, for us, it's going to be a service call or an estimate. So number one, the branch name could be anything. It doesn't really matter. You can just call it. It really just matters inside the workflow so you understand what path they're going down. But here we've just got, blow this up, customer, they responded, they need a service call to repair their system. So if the AI bot sees something like service call, repair, things like that, or the language is geared toward, hey, I need a repair, it's going to go down this path. Now, if they respond, they need an estimate for a replacement system, then it's going to go down the other path. Okay, so these are the two branches that you these are the two branches that you've configured here. Now, what happens if the response from the AI bot does not respond to a service call or an estimate request? So if that's the case, what happens is that it goes down the no conditions met branch. Let's just say the person said, a service a service call or an estimate and they responded with neither, or none. Well, the AI bot be like, well, that doesn't match either branch, so I'm going to send it down the no condition met branch. And then you can kind of follow through how you want to handle that later. Maybe you ask another simpler question. Maybe the question that you asked initially was too complicated or the person didn't understand, so you might want to get them re-engaged. Okay, and I'm going to kind of show you how you could do that in this workflow actually. But I did want to take some time and just help you understand how this works. So now that we've got this, what we're going to do is I'm going to take just a minute and show you how you can recover from people that, let's just say it's a call. Let's just say they call, they didn't leave a voicemail, they just called, nobody answered, and they hung up. Okay, fine. At that particular point, this fires, and then what happens? This right here fires off a message with somebody and asks them the question. What question do they ask? Hi, thanks for reaching out to us here at FreshFlow HVAC, location name. Are you looking to schedule a service call or repair or an estimate for a replacement system? So that's sort of, and if you think about it, your missed call text back message. That's the first question that you're asking. Now, based upon that, if the person responds, or let's just say they don't respond within this 1 hour, then what happens? Well, you don't want to lose that particular customer, so what you might want to do is choose the timeout, because after an hour it times out. So you might want to come over here and send them an SMS. The SMS could be something like, hey, this is FreshFlow HVAC. We missed your call earlier, tried to reach out, you didn't respond. Are you still in need of our HVAC services? So you would do that. You'd come over here and give it like a little wait step where you'd wait for that person to respond. And then this timeout could be like 8 hours, if they're busy or something like that. Maybe they stepped into a meeting. And then based upon the condition, did they respond? Yes. Did they have a message? Yes or no? So that's really all this does. And then here you could say, did they respond yes? Did they respond no? Well, if they responded yes, then we're going to just put this go to and loop them back up in the workflow and put them back into the main conversation AI. So if they were to reply yes, then it would send them the question again. Hi, thanks for reaching out to us here at FreshFlow. Are you looking for a schedule? Blah, blah, blah. And it would start over again. So that would be one way you can handle it. Or if they responded no, you can just, thank you for letting us know if you need our services in the future, blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know, you might at this particular point add them to a follow-up nurture campaign, or you might have an email sequence that goes out once every couple weeks to just let them know about friendly tips. And, maybe they might be interested at the other company. If they found somebody else that doesn't work out, at least you're sending them nice emails and things like that, that you can, that at that particular point, they can respond back to you and call you again. So that's just one way in here that you can use the timeout to sort of re-engage somebody. But let's kind of get back on track here and go back to the service call or estimate. So here, if we see it's a service call or an estimate, you can sit back and add different things here. I'm just trying to make things simplified here. And one of the things I want to sit back and do, again, is explain some of the limitations here. Here's another limitation that you have. The conversation AI feature in the workflow cannot schedule an appointment like the conversation AI did in the previous example. So in the previous example, when it says, hey, when do you want to schedule a service call, today or tomorrow? It gave dates, times, and all that other stuff. The AI feature inside of this workflow is not capable of doing that. So that's a downside. You'd love to be able to pick that up and have that handle, but it doesn't. So you're going to have to factor that into your AI system for doing this. So let's just say they get the message and they go, hey, I need a service call. Or AI says it's supposed to be a service call. Then here's the SMS message they get. Hey, whatever their first name is, hey, Ray, you can use this calendar link to schedule a time that works best for you. We'll see you soon. Here's the link to that particular calendar, to the service calendar. And you can have them log in, open it up, and do all that other cool stuff themselves. Or if you wanted to, you can even come here and use the call feature and actually have Highlevel call somebody, maybe the call or reconnect or call to a booking person. Call somebody if you wanted to get this thing as well. That's always something that you can do. But unfortunately, one of the limitations right now is that you cannot book the appointment slot like you could before, which is why I said using that other conversation AI for all the channels there is probably going to be your best bet, because that one can actually schedule stuff, but that side of conversation AI is limited. If you have other needs, you're going to have to use this version of conversation AI and then come up with some workarounds. So this right here is how this works. If it's an estimate request, and you can do something very similar, but I just want to show you at least what a basic workflow would look like. Now, could you sit back here for some of the more complicated ones? I'll just take a minute. So let's just say if it was, like we said, solar, you asked the person a question, and the person responded with, yes, that the very first answer is good. Yeah, I get sun on my roof all day long. Great. Then the next question could be, when are you looking at having something done? Or, stuff like that. So you can go down to the next question. So you can put another block down here, under here. You can add another conversation AI that asks them the next leading question. So that's some things that you can sit back and do. inside of here and build that entire process out. Again, it should flow very, very remotely or close to this particular process flow diagram, because this is going to be a value of them in the future. You could save this, store them in their sub account, but this is valuable because now you can kind of see what their business process is. And your client may actually have this. If they're a little bit more complicated, they might even have a process flow diagram. So here's one of the things that I want to show you. Now, while I'm here talking about high-level limitations, I am going to include another limitation that I ran across that could be kind of frustrating. So one of the things I thought would be cool is, as you're going through, let's just use the solar example, and let's just say you might have 5 pre-qualifying questions. Wouldn't it be nice to create 5 custom fields to hold all of the responses that you get from people when they respond via SMS, and just store that value in a custom field so that you can always access that later? That would be nice. Here's how you would do it, but I'm going to tell you it doesn't work right now. It's probably a bug. Highlevel is probably going to fix it, but when they do fix it, here's going to be a valuable piece of information. So right now, what if I were to come back over here and, for instance, at this step, what if I said, hey, what is the manufacturer of your HVAC system? What if I wanted to know that in the next step? I could say, please, what is the manufacturer? And there's lots of different manufacturers, but I wanted to take that manufacturer and store that in a custom field in the context. So for whatever reason, if I wanted to look it up, I have that information for later. That would be valuable. And you could just throw that here in the workflow. So you would simply come here and do an update contact field. And I'm going to blow this up just a little bit. And I'm going to add a field. And this field is, of course, going to be a custom field. And this custom field that we have here, I've already built one that says Highlevel, our HVAC manufacturer. And then what you would end up doing here, you've probably done this before, you would just simply come down here to message and do message body. So all you're doing is taking the SMS response that you got back from the conversation AI above you. That message body should still be populated with whatever the response was from the last SMS message. And you're just taking that body with that messages and putting it right into the custom field for the HVAC manufacturer. You could do something like this, or you should be able to do something like this. And then as you're going through the process, store all of this data that you're collecting in the contact record for your team to have later. Right now, again, it doesn't work. I've already opened up a support case, spoke to the people. They're just looking like it's a bug right now. But ultimately, the support team even agreed that this basic update custom field should work. But unfortunately, it doesn't. Why am I giving it to you? I'm hoping that you could use it in the future. Worst case scenario, you put these in your workflow, and at some point, it will begin working. All it is just a real quick step. You saw how easy it was to put it in there. But worst case scenario, the custom field doesn't get populated. That's the worst case scenario. But when the bug gets fixed, your workflow contact field will begin working right away, and you won't have to go update this. So I just want to give that to you as a quick update as well. So now that we've gone over this, let's kind of see this in action. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh the page here. And again, we have our previous sort of message flow over here. I've already got the form pre-populated because I just chose the sticky option on there just for the purpose of this example. We're going to go ahead and click submit. Now with the form submission, it's going to fire this workflow, the trigger on form, and we're going to be able to get this message. So now we just sit back and just give it a second here. And lo and behold, we should get another update from the AI system that has information regarding the question that you're going to ask inside of the workflow. So this right here, I've noticed does take a little bit. You could try to reduce the amount of seconds on the conversation AI that it responds, but just take a look here and just see if we can refresh. Okay, so here we go. Just had to refresh this message right here. Hi, thanks for reaching out to us here at FreshFlow HVAC. Are you looking to schedule a service repair? Keep in mind, this is the exact same question that we had before. So I'm just going to type in repair. If this was somebody responding, blow this back up here. So it's going to go back out here. This AI system is going to see it as repair. It's going to now take it down the service call. It's going to go through the update contact field and then the SMS, and then should respond back with our message that we had. Hi, Ray, customize. You can use this calendar link to schedule a time that works best for you. They click on the link on their phone. They go out, they sit back and get to the service calendar. And keep in mind, one of the other cool features that Highlevel has is that you can completely customize the way this calendar looks now with some of the new calendar customization. So this can look really cool, and you can change a lot of stuff. So just keep that in mind. This is very plain Jane and vanilla. I get it. But ultimately, I just wanted to show you that this is how this system can work. So again, instead of the form on the website, being sent, using some kind of a form where you email the information to the owner and the owner finally responds to the email maybe the next morning, and by then it's too late, the person's already gotten somewhere else. Instead of then, the form goes directly into AI. AI creates a conversation, boom, boom, boom. Now the person's able to book an appointment and you can move forward directly with it. Same with the estimate. So you can send here, instead of the SMS record for the service call, you can send them a calendar link to the estimate so that they can book their own time. Now, again, it is a manual process. I hope Highlevel would look at improving that pretty quickly, but I wanted to at least give that to you, some of the limitations, because you do have to work around these, and it's better that you know them up front than try to implement them and they not work. And like with me doing all this testing, I'm just giving it to you. So hopefully that would be a benefit to you. So moving forward here, what I want to do is show you, sorry, let me open this workflow back up again. Here in this workflow, the conversation AI action actually determined what path something went down. You may not want that. Matter of fact, you may want to have different conversation AI pieces for different triggers on your site. Now, I don't know. I'm just trying to give this to you. You may want the same. You may want different. So if they submit a form, or if it's a Facebook lead form or something like that, you might want to choose a different path that goes down, and then have a different conversation AI question for each trigger. So if they call, here's the conversation AI for people who call. If it's a form on a website, here's the AI conversation over here for those people. And you can have something completely different. How do you do that? Let me show you. So here I'm going to open up this one. This workflow is kind of similar and has very similar triggers here. But one of the things you're going to see is that instead of the AI, conversation AI action, this is just an if condition. So right here, this is very powerful. You can just have an if condition where in this drop-down list, you've got these options. Just choose workflow trigger is, and it gives you an option of all the workflow triggers. And here I'm just going to say call status, because that's going to be the missed call, or the website form. And you can have any number one. You can have Facebook lead form 1, Facebook lead form 2, any one that you want. And now what happens is that this condition, based upon how they triggered the workflow, will then follow that particular path specifically through the workflow. And then, let's just say it's a website form, and at that point, then you can implement the conversation AI at this point. So every conversation AI, if I want to do another one here, then this conversation AI from this call could be different from this one. They can all act independently based upon the trigger of the workflow. So that's just a really quick trick, just another way of designing workflows that could be better for you, of how you actually design the path. Again, I just want to give that to you. Now, one of the other things I want to sit back and offer you, again, I'm trying to create some ideas for you when you create your AI appointment setting bot. The appointment setting bot is, to me, not just for people who call and want to engage the company and schedule for services. What if you were thinking about doing things like database reactivation, or you're trying to set back and do some other marketing and create some additional offers to get new business? How can you do that? How can I start doing some promotions and things like that for, maybe it's a 20% off. If we're dealing with HVAC, maybe it's like, hey, 20% off repair coupon, or $500 off a new install from now until a month from now, or something like that. And you're doing marketing, you're doing advertising. It could be Facebook ads, it could be doing social media posting, it could be any number of things. But the whole point about you're trying to do is you're trying to give them a lead. It's like a lead magnet. You're trying to give them something to get new business. So let's try to take a look at that. I did create something for you here. And just to kind of give you an idea here, this looks a little bit complicated, but believe me, let me just walk you through it. Here, there are multiple triggers. This trigger right here is for email marketing. So if you have an email, if you send out an email for email marketing and the person replies back through email marketing, and the intention is positive and things like that, then it will fire. If you post something on Facebook or Instagram, Highlevel just created their new reply to post comment feature. So what if you had an infographic that your social media manager created, which, by the way, could be you? It's another service that you could be selling them, is their social media management. But you can create an infographic using even the AI systems inside of Highlevel to create graphics. But you can create an infographic that simply says, leave a comment, leave the keyword new, or something like that, for $500 off a new HVAC system. And you could have an infographic that says something like that. So they see it on Facebook, they see it on Instagram, they go to comment, they type in the word new, hit enter. Now what happens? Now Highlevel has a trigger that will fire whenever somebody leaves a comment on your post. We're going to take a look at that. That's a powerful feature, and this is how you can integrate it with your AI system. You're triggering it, and then the last one is just straightly an SMS message. So if you're doing something like keyword marketing, where you're like, hey, if you're looking to, if you want $500 off a new install, why don't you text the word new to this phone number, or something like that. And when they do, then you can capture their phone number, because you captured it from when they text you, and then at that particular point, you can reply back to them. So let's quickly take a look at some of the logic of how this would work. Here we have an if condition to break out each trigger, because I want to break out each trigger, because I want to communicate with people differently depending upon how they're coming into the workflow. So I'm going to blow this up a bit here. So over here, let's just take a look at email promotion. So email promotion, we're going to sit back and hope. Now, the thought about this is if you're emailing them, you've probably already gotten their information. Like if you're doing a database reactivation, things like that, you've got their phone number, you've got their email address, you've got their contact information, but now they've raised their hand and said they want something. So you send them an SMS message, something very basic that just simply says, hey, Ray, thanks for your interest in our special offer. Here's the coupon you requested. And you attach it, boom. Nothing salesy, nothing at all. They reply to your email, and then boom, you send them back an SMS saying, here's your coupon. So they received an immediate response. They didn't have to go through a sales process, nothing like that at all. And they feel comfortable with it now. They're like, wow, here's a coupon. That was easy. So let's move forward here and see how we can do this. Now, reply to a Facebook and Instagram comment. Since we don't have their phone number or their email address, again, I'm dealing with phone numbers here, just strictly with SMS, so we can utilize the AI feature here. So right now, if you're going to reply back, we're going to use Messenger and send them a messenger request back, send them a DM after they give you that post message. So when they do that, you're just going to say, hey, Ray, thanks for your interest in our special coupon. Can you reply with your number so we can text you our coupon? Now, can you just attach it right here? Of course, but you don't want to. Why? Because you want their phone number. So let's move on. So right now, hopefully, if they want the coupon, and again, this happens like within a couple seconds. So this is almost real time. Then you're going to wait for a response. That response is going to be wait for let's just say it's 2 hours. That times out, but hopefully it doesn't time out. The person types in their phone number and it comes back. And at that particular point, here's one of the things that's pretty cool. Highlevel's conversation area has gotten very smart. Maybe you don't know this, but if you're ever communicating with a client and Highlevel sees a phone number or an email address come from the contact, it'll automatically update the contact record with that information if it doesn't exist already. Pretty cool. So this is one of the things when they reply back, Highlevel will see the phone number in the conversation, automatically update the contact record. Now, if you wanted to, you could simply update the contact record here, kind of like we did the update contact record in the previous workflow. You could do that if you wanted to, but Highlevel's smart enough to do it for you. It's up to you. But let's just assume that we did get the phone number. Now you send back the exact same thing. Hey, Ray, thanks for your interest in our special offer. Here's your coupon you requested. So this, again, is just a way to update their contact record. So now you have their name and you have a phone number that you can communicate with them through text messaging. So once you do that, you can do the same with Instagram and just send them the same SMS message for those people that do keyword marketing. If they come in, let's just say if we take a look at this SMS trigger. So if somebody sends you a reply channel on SMS and it contains the phrase new, that keyword marketing that we're doing, if they contain the word new, then it's going to trigger this and reply back with a coupon. Now, here's what happens at the end of all of these. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add these people to the AI bot more offerings workflow. So let's take a look at that. This thing always messes up. Alrighty, let's scale back out here. We're going to look at this AI bot more offerings. Now, this one's not going to be complicated, guys. I'm just trying to show you what happens here. But notice that there's no trigger to this workflow. Why? Because we triggered this workflow from the other workflow. So they have to come in through our special offer promotion workflow first. And when they do, then we can send, once we communicated with them and update their contact information, then we can send them to this workflow, which in turn now communicates with them via AI. That can ask this question to go on, and this just says, thank you for your interest in our special offer coupon. We hope you enjoy it. We also provide many other services. Would you be interested in getting more information on them when they happen? Or something like that. Some kind of additional services that you could possibly sell them, and then use the AI chat widget to go back out, and maybe even, if so, schedule something directly with them and cross-sell them, if you will, additional services with your business. All from the initial promotional offering that you put out there. So I wanted to at least give you how you can start with maybe a promotional offer and start building these. I've never seen people talk about this in some of the other videos about how can you engage more people and do even things like database reactivation, and then include that database reactivation back in, how to put them back into an AI system that can respond to them. So it's not an AI system that they initiated themselves. In a sense, you communicate with them, and then based upon their response, then when they respond back a certain way, then they put themselves into an AI automated response to help them get back, schedule another call or whatever it is, but to buy more of your services. So, hey guys, I really hope you found this useful. If you found, maybe one nugget, 2 nuggets, hopefully you found a dozen nuggets in this one here. I did a lot of work to put this video together for you. I hope you appreciate it. If you can, press the like button, press a comment, let me know what you think about this, because YouTube really likes it when they get feedback, interaction. Again, I am a GoHighlevel affiliate. If you want to upgrade using my link or you want to sign up, I do provide coaching and a ton of bonuses. My link is in the description below. Please let me know. And again, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe link. I always appreciate your support. You guys are great to me, and I want to be good back. Have a great day.